Get ready to meet the biblical billionaires you never knew existed. We're diving into the top richest people in the Bible, revealing not just who they were, but also how much they'd be worth today. And how did we calculate their net worth? Through a mix of Bible, Midrash, Talmudic sources, and a little financial detective work. We looked at land, livestock, silver, gold, influence, and power, then translated all that into modern values. No inflation calculators from 2000 BCE, we promise. Let's dive in. At number 10, we have Job. His story is one of the greatest comebacks of all time. Imagine owning thousands of sheep, camels, oxen, and donkeys. The Bible actually gives us numbers: 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 female donkeys. That's like owning fleets of Lamborghinis, mega mansions, and private jets all at once. But then, everything was taken away. Job lost it all: his possessions, his family, even his health. And yet, he stayed faithful. When he got back on his feet, God rewarded him by doubling everything. So, he basically pulled off the ultimate billionaire comeback. His approximate net worth today, $45 billion. We calculated this by tallying up the value of all his livestock and land, plus servants, adjusted for modern prices. Talk about bouncing back. At number 9, King Ahasuerus, or Xerxes, ruled a vast Persian empire stretching from India to Ethiopia. This was a massive global kingdom, home to millions of people and vast resources. His parties lasted 6 months, filled with gold goblets, priceless jewels, marble pillars. Imagine the ultimate luxury gala. When he offered Esther half his kingdom, he wasn't kidding. That was an offer worth billions today. His approximate net worth, $52 billion. We estimated this from records of his empire's resources and the treasures described in the book of Esther. At number 8, King David began life as a humble shepherd boy, but rose to become one of the greatest kings of Israel. His wealth came from conquests, taxes, and tributes paid by conquered nations. He even dedicated large amounts of gold and silver for the future temple in Jerusalem, a symbol of his legacy. His riches weren't just money. They reflected leadership, wisdom, and national unity. David's approximate net worth today, $70 billion. This estimate comes from evaluating the spoils of war, the tributes from surrounding nations, and the known wealth accumulated for temple construction. Basically, David was the OG CEO, poet and musician, multitasking at its finest. At number 7, Isaac is often overshadowed, but his story is impressive. Despite being blind later in life, Isaac cultivated crops and controlled valuable wells that made him prosperous and envied. The Bible describes his wealth increasing continuously, even during famine. Blind and still crushing it. Now that's impressive. Isaac's approximate net worth, $85 billion. We calculated this by estimating the value of agricultural land, wells, and livestock, typical for his time, adjusted to modern agricultural land and water rights values. At number 6, Jacob was the ultimate hustler. He worked for 20 years for his uncle Laban, who tried every trick to shortchange him, but Jacob was too clever for that. By the end, he walked away with massive flocks, camels, and servants. He even bought a prime piece of land for just 100 kesita, a total steal. His approximate net worth, $100 billion. This came from livestock counts, servants, and land value adjusted to modern equivalents. Jacob's life is basically the ancient from rags to riches story. Hustle hard, win big. If you're loving this ancient wealth countdown, hit subscribe so you won't miss our next deep dive into history's hidden fortunes. At number 5, Abraham, the father of nations, was a man of great wealth and integrity. He had silver, gold, cattle, and influence that made kings jealous. When he bought the cave of Machpelah, he overpaid just to make sure no one would contest him. And he famously refused even a shoelace from the 5 kings he helped win a war, insisting he earned everything honestly. His approximate net worth, $150 billion. We calculated this by adding the value of livestock, precious metals, and the gifts he received. He was the original self-made billionaire with a heart to match. At number 4, Haman was the wealthiest non-Jew and non-king in the Bible, but he's mostly known as the villain of the story. He looted treasures from the kings of Judah, and even the Holy of Holies. Yes, the sacred part of the temple. Despite his riches, Haman's story ends badly, proving that money can't save you from karma. His approximate net worth, $200 billion. This was estimated from the treasures in the temple and historical accounts of his looting. I guess all that bling couldn't buy him a happy ending. At number 3, Korach was insanely rich after discovering one of Joseph's hidden treasures buried in Egypt. But instead of keeping a low profile, Korach used his wealth to start a rebellion against Moses. Spoiler alert, it didn't end well. The earth swallowed Korach and all his possessions. Literally, his approximate net worth, $250 billion. We base this on the legendary treasure amounts linked to Joseph's hoards and Korach's power. Joseph hid 3 treasures. 2 of them were found, but 1 is still out there. Let me know in the comments if you're ready to join me on my treasure hunt for Joseph's 3rd undiscovered treasure. At number 2, Pharaoh, during Joseph's time, was the richest man on earth. When famine struck, Joseph advised Pharaoh to collect all gold, silver, land, livestock, and even people in exchange for food. This made Pharaoh a trillionaire by today's standards. Joseph, being righteous, handed all this wealth to Pharaoh, so Pharaoh officially owned nearly all of Egypt's riches. His approximate net worth? $1.5 trillion. He came up with this by looking at Egypt's historical wealth and Joseph's economic plan described in the Bible. Pharaoh was the original Monopoly champion? All right, before we crown the richest of them all, make your guess. Who do you think takes the number 1 spot? Type it in the comments now. And at number 1, King Solomon, the original trillionaire. His wisdom is legendary, but so is his wealth. Silver was as common as stones in his kingdom. He had merchant fleets, bringing treasures from faraway lands and endless tributes from neighboring nations. Solomon built the most magnificent temple the world had ever seen. His annual gold income alone was over 666 talents, translating to billions today. His approximate net worth, $2.2 trillion. We estimated this based on his annual gold income, accumulated treasures, and the vastness of his kingdom. Solomon was basically the Elon Musk of the ancient world. Smart, rich, and unforgettable. Notable mentions include Laban, Jacob's crafty uncle and wealthy livestock owner, Nebuchadnezzar, Babylon's king, who ruled vast territories, and the 5 kings from Abraham's time, who had kingdoms, but didn't reach the wealth levels of this top list. And there you have it, the top richest people in the Bible. Who surprised you most? Who do you think got snubbed? Comment below if you know someone who would enjoy ancient drama with billionaire vibes.